Good afternoon, everybody. Christian here. Today is not really going to matter because this is a Saturday video where I just ramble about stuff and you have to listen to it. Or you cannot. Go ahead and listen to it. All right, so my wife and son may come in a minute and ruin this video because my wife had to go pick up my son at school along with $1,000 worth of product to then go take out. And you know how the school does this whole, hey, fundraise program, all the kids take this stuff to their parents and their friends of the parents and so forth and so on to try to sell overpriced stuff to raise money for the school. My kid went out and he did that. He sold $1,000 worth of stuff. I mean, he took multiple days going out up and down roads, knocking on doors. He thought he was going to win. Because whoever sells the most got something. I think it was $100. So, like I said, he sold $1,000, and then the day of the announcement of who won, somebody else had sold $1,300 worth, and so he won nothing. In one sense, so he did all this work and got nothing out of it, and then he has to now go out and deliver all this product to all these different people. I think maybe they should rethink that strategy. Maybe get more of the kids interested, because I don't think he's actually going to go do anything the next year that they try to do that. Anyway, I'll try to make him understand that there's a benefit to you helped your school, and that's a benefit that's worth doing, right? In any event, a little side note. So today I want to talk about something, the end of the world. And by that, I mean the second coming, right? Some of you might be trained in the ideas that there'll be a rapture and then a second coming, or some of you might be like, no, I don't believe in the rapture. I don't really care. We're not talking about the fine details. All we know is there will be a second coming. So let's just address that. There will also be, an antichrist and a mark of the beast and a beast system where you can't buy or sell unless you take the mark of the beast and all that stuff. And I want to talk about that because one of the things that the Lord's been showing me a lot of in dreams is people talking about the end of the world. And in all the dreams, I see it the same way. People are seeing things that could fall into certain things, and they recognize, oh, this looks like the pattern that I saw in the Old Testament, or I'm sorry, in the end of the New Testament, Book of Revelation, or Daniel, the Old Testament, and they're saying, okay, this is the end, And in my dreams, God has shown me this multiple times as well. And I made, years ago, I think, I made a video talking about some of that God had shown me, these people behaving in this way, really getting worked up on this, hey, this is the end. And so I just want to take a moment to address that, because I'm starting to hear various different people picking up that conversation. Every single time God has shown me this, let me give you a little more here. We know there'll be a beast system. We know that everything God has told us will eventually happen. We don't know when that will be, but you should always be prepared so you're not caught off guard, right? You're not surprised. You're always walking with God, right? Don't fall asleep, basically, at the wheel and get yourself in trouble. So, because we know that there's going to be a beast system where you can't buy or sell without taking a mark and things like that, and we know there will be an antichrist and someone who would create a system or kind of make a way where there's a world peace thing, and then we have what's going on in the Middle East right now. There's a lot of elements that people could point to and say, hey, didn't Elon Musk create some company that's got some computer chip trying to hook them up to people's brains? Yeah. Well, isn't it already obvious that online system can be made so that if you don't toe the party line, you're not allowed to be on it? Yeah. Isn't that similar to what will happen with the mark of the beast and the beast system where you can't buy and sell unless you take the mark? Yeah. The Middle East thing, I just saw a headline today. Saw Elon Musk was talking to the president of Israel. Here he is now in the middle of some other weird situation. Somebody could point to that and say, hey, couldn't this all tie together and be all part of this thing? Yeah. Do you know that is what it is? No. When I was a kid, people were talking about the end of the world so much that I kind of got frustrated. Like, what was the point of me being born? I mean, it's like by Tuesday, the world's going to be over, you know? And yet, it never happened. And there seemed to be like person after person that came out declaring the end date would be X. And the end date after that date failed was X after that. And then the end date after that. On YouTube alone, almost every year, someone comes out talking about the end and how they've mathematically figured out when it's going to be based on the secrets in the Bible and so forth and so on. None of them are actually right thus far. So let me just tell you what prophetically I can tell you. Every time God has shown me in my dreams, people talking about the end of of time and the end of the world, the second coming, every single time in my dream, I don't agree with them. Every single time. I see what they're pointing to, but there's an error, something they're not thinking about. And this is that thing. It's a principle that the Lord showed me in the book of Jeremiah. In the book of Jeremiah, Jeremiah the prophet is speaking and talking about, look, you guys have been going the wrong way for a long time. Your leaders are leading you astray. Your priests are leading you astray. Your teachers are leading you astray, much like it is in America today. And as he was prophesying, nobody wanted to listen to anything he had to say, to the point that they were like, let's kill him and let's put him in a pit and let's, they were just mean to Jeremiah. But eventually, what Jeremiah said came to pass. There's an interesting little detail here. All the people that Jeremiah was speaking to were either killed or taken prisoner, except for a few remnant. And Jeremiah was in that group that would not be taken into captivity. And it's interesting because God had, while Jeremiah was in this pit scenario, and he was under the capture, supposed to be his own kind, God sent him a word that he was supposed to buy up this land and store the documentation in I think it was an earthen jar. I can't remember the exact details. And the basic point was, look, you're going to go into captivity, but the land itself, I still want you to buy it up because the end's not yet. You're going to come back here. You're going to need that land, right, in the future. And eventually, of course, all these things happen. So when I hear people in dreams, they're always saying, well, it's the end, because I see these signs, and I see these signs, and therefore it's the end. What the Holy Spirit is telling me is not yet. And the way that I know it is because he's telling me, I want you to go out and buy this land. I want you to go out and buy that land. I want you to go out and invest in those businesses. Things that you would not do if you were, I'm out of here in about 10 minutes. That's just not congruent, right? And so that's what the Lord's been telling me. So I'm giving you kind of a prophetic word here, letting you guys know they're going to hear an escalation of that phrase. It's the end of the world. You're going to hear that more and more and more. There's one dream where I had seen something so dramatic that happens. That it's a volcano that's discovered, and when people see and hear of it, they will be like, that's it. This is the end of the world. In fact, when I woke up and told my wife what I had seen in this dream, she said, that'd be the end of the world. And I said, that's exactly what people will say when they hear about it. And that you're going to hear that. But in that dream also, I knew they're miscalculating. They've overlooked some details. So no matter how bad it gets, what I'm saying is no matter how bad it gets, and how many people you hear screaming at the top of their lungs, it's the end of the world, the Holy Spirit's leading me to say, not yet. And that's all I have to share with you.